Coffee time. But don't forget, guys, you can buy me a coffee anytime. I will drink it, and I will drink it on video to show my appreciation because I like coffee. Or you can cash at me as well. The links are in the description, guys. But in any case, just wanted to say the streaming services aren't doing so well. I mean, for one, there's too many of them. Like nowadays, there's so many streaming services. If you want to look at all your favorite content from all the different platforms, is basically like you're just doing cable TV all over again, just with extra steps. That's basically all it is. The streaming services are just cable TV version 3.0. Okay. Um, the biggest ones, of course, were like Netflix and Prime and now Disney Plus and HBO Max, but they aren't doing so well. HBO Max, after WB Discovery, Warner Brothers Discovery, had that merger, they went into a huge cost cutting effort and decided instead of putting everything on our channel, on our streaming service, we're going to license some of the stuff out, which was always a good idea anyway, than to make everyone come to their platform just to watch some of these things. So they've learned their lesson. But they're also now combining HBO Max and Discovery Plus into one streaming service, and it's just going to be called Max. Most people have been clowning the shit out of that because it's better known for HBO content than Cinemax, which most people still, the older folks my age and so forth, still kind of ascribe Cinemax to like the skeezy soft porn stuff they used to show late at night and back in like the 90s and early 2000s. Okay. Like, some of us will stay up way before our bedtime when we shouldn't be just to watch some of that stuff on Cinemax and on HBO on Friday nights at 11:30. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm not the only one. But back to that. So the streaming services aren't doing too well. So HBO Max and Discovery Plus are now going to be called Max. A lot of the material that was on there is gone, or they're going to license out to the TV channels. But also, that there's a huge writer strike that's been going on for like almost 4 weeks now, and it's halted a lot of production on TV shows and movies. And most of the talk shows on network television have came to an immediate halt as soon as that happened, including Saturday Night Live and like all your favorite late night talk shows that no one watches anymore anyway. Yeah, like Jimmy Kimmel and all that sort of stuff. No one watches that crap anymore. Just under 50. But anyway, um, um, the biggest block uh, has come to Disney Plus. And I'm not gonna get on Netflix. We already know they're struggling. That's why now they don't want you sharing passwords and stuff. They used to encourage that years and years ago. Now they're coming after people who do it, and they're experimenting with having shows come on there weekly instead of you binge watching it. Which that was their whole thing. They created a whole binge worthy sort of thing, but now they can't do that anymore because they need you to stay on the platform long enough so they can make money. But yeah, Disney Plus is the big one because Disney Plus had become by far my favorite after Netflix lost all their Marvel and Disney and Star Wars and Warner Brothers DC stuff. Because when there wasn't all this multiplicity of streaming services, Netflix was my favorite because it was an aggregate of everything else that I like to watch. Now, without having all the stuff from all the other creators, all the other film studios who created their own streaming services, it's not that great. Like, I only really watch Netflix nowadays to see stuff from overseas because that's the only quality stuff they have on there. stuff coming from overseas. So Disney Plus was my favorite now, and they're not doing too well. Just in the last quarter, apparently they lost 4 million subscribers. Maybe stop with all the woke shit. Um, they're removing content right now to save costs. All the shows they're gonna remove from Disney Plus and Hulu is saving them like $1.8 billion by removing that content, which is sad. Like they're removing content. They were in a huge process of adding content in the last few years to have people stay on the platform long enough to check out all the stuff that they had to offer. Now they're removing stuff. One of the things they're removing is Willow, the TV series. Now, I don't know if anyone goes onto my channel here on YouTube and check out the stuff I post in like the little note section where like I might post a picture or something quippy, but I had posted like my vintage action figure of Willow from the 80s. It wasn't so much an action figure, but more like a little statuette because it didn't move. But that was the only thing they produced for the movie back then, because I guess it was considered somewhat of a disappointment when it first came out. And then Willow became a cult classic, the movie, not the series. This was in the 80s, produced by Ron Howard under Lucasfilm. And yeah, I love the movie. So when 2, 3 years ago they were talking about they were gonna make a show about it, I was hyped. I was like, about time, because everyone wanted a sequel to it. The people who grew up loving that movie. So it finally came about, and the show was horrible. I was watching it with the missus, and it was just bad. Like the people were walking and talking like they were from LA. The designs were just bad, and it turned into some sort of lesbian teen romance. Like it had little to do with Willow, and the plot was so bad. I don't want to do a full show review for it. Maybe I'll start doing that if you guys want me to do like reviews of shows and movies. I can do that separately, but this isn't the place for that. Just say it was really horrible. So now they're removing it, and of course the showrunners are pissed at Disney for doing it, but they're the ones that made that junk. Like you trashed a, a classic cult movie that people loved and turned it into some woke lesbian teen romance. And FYI, anytime you see that little mixed black girl in a TV show, that's almost a harbinger that show or movie's gonna suck. I don't know what her real name is, but she has a British accent. But the British accent is weird because it's not a it seems like it waffles between dialects when she talks. I don't know what she's really speaking at times, but it's not received pronunciation, which is like the elite British dialect called RP dialect, or sometimes they call it the Queen's speech or whatever, King's speech now. But she has this weird British accent, and she's always in movies that turn out to be bad. For instance, she was in Solo, a Star Wars story. Then she was in that when Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She was the bad guy in that. They had a bunch of super soldiers that were like 100 pounds soaking wet, and she was just horrible in that too. I'm sure the actress is a lovely person, but the characters she played are bad. And anytime she's in a movie, it's a signal that that movie's gonna suck. It's sort of like Scott Adkins. Anytime he's in a movie, it's almost guaranteed it's gonna suck. So I'm hoping John Wick 4 is good because he's in that, but he has a minor role in that. He's not a major character, and they made him look like some ugly, weird penguin type of thing in John Wick 4 for some reason. But in any case, she's also in Willow. She plays a character in that based off of one of their original characters who died in the original film. And she's just horrible. The show is just horrible. and I was I was like kind of disappointed that it ended it so badly. It was supposed to have a second season and possibly even a third season, but they've canceled it. So I knew they canceled it a few months ago, but then it came out last week that not only did they cancel it, they're removing it from the platform in toto. I'm like, wow, that really didn't do well. And people hate to hear this, but go woke, go broke. There was no reason to put modern day sensibilities into a medieval fantasy. Like, I don't understand what these showrunners are doing or these writers. Like, why are they trying to put modern sensibilities into medieval fantasies? That's why Ring of Power failed so horribly. It was the most expensive show ever produced, and it bombed because they decided to make Galadriel some sort of warrior princess, which was not how she was depicted in Tolkien's books. Trust me, I've read them. Not just Lord of the Rings, not just Hobbit. I've read the other stuff, the other books that Tolkien wrote that people haven't read unless they're like hardcore Tolkien fans like I am. Because these were the books he didn't finish. So his son, Christopher Tolkien, ended up cobbling all that stuff together and finishing those books for him so that they were posthumously printed. But in any case, Rings of Power sucked badly. That was the most expensive show ever produced. Like, just throwing a lot of money at a show, it's not going to make it better. They obviously didn't throw a lot of money at the Willow show because it looked cheap. But besides that, people would have. But the funny thing is, people would have overlooked how cheap it looked if it had a strong plot, if it followed from the original movie, and it didn't. So Disney is losing subscribers because a lot of people don't like the stuff that they're making, like the live remakes. I think I've talked about that before, but if I haven't, I'm not going to do it here. I've already ranted enough, but it sucked, guys. And so now Disney Plus is doing the same thing that HBO Max is doing. Well, what Warner Brothers is doing with HBO Max, just like Warner Brothers has decided to merge HBO Max and Discovery Plus into a new platform called Max. Um, Disney is going to combine Disney Plus and Hulu into one platform. So you're not going to have a separate Disney Plus and a separate Hulu. They're going to be one streaming service now, guys. I don't know if it's still going to be called Disney Plus or it's going to be called Hulu or is it going to have a new name. But they're going to do the same thing to cut costs, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm I'm not too sad about these screenwriters, to be honest, because like I said, they're producing a lot of trash. I understand they should be getting paid enough because the problem with the streaming services is that they're not being paid for the content being run in syndication and stuff like they used to on traditional platforms like network TV and cable television and stuff like that. On a streaming service, it's like they're getting paid once for it to get made, and that's it. They're not getting paid for how much is played on the streaming services, which, to be fair, that's not right. It isn't. But I'm not sympathetic just because they don't make good content anymore. Like I said, I don't understand why these screenwriters are using modern sensibilities in historical films or in fantasy films about medieval type um, content. It doesn't make sense. I won't also I won't just blame it on being woke. I'm also going to blame it on the fact that a lot of them have educations that are woefully lacking in like history. It's not a secret that many Americans are history illiterate, so that probably contributes as well. But yeah, go woke, go broke, and that's what's happening with Disney right now. So if you like, you might want to do a Google scroll of all the shows that are leaving Hulu and Disney Plus, because if there anything that you currently like, you better watch it now before they're gone. And is a good reason to sometimes buy physical media for the things that you like to watch. So all my favorite movies and stuff, I've bought like the DVDs, stuff, classic stuff like Batman and the Dark Knight trilogy and Avengers, Ghostbusters, like classic stuff like that. Like if it's something like that, I want a physical medium. That way I can watch it whenever I want. Okay. So you might want to do that. Just, well, some of these new shows probably don't have a physical medium, so you might just be SOL, shit out of luck, if they're not on if they're not a physical medium for it, because some of them are only available on these streaming services. But go do a Google search of stuff leaving Hulu and Disney Plus to see if it's some of your favorite shows that are going. Because once they're going, I don't know if they'll show up again. Maybe they might license these shows and movies to other um, cable TV channels or to other streaming services, but we don't know yet.